And we're live. So, guys, over the last 3 sessions, 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3, we created the world and the characters. And we have detailed out our game setting. It's a cyberpunk fantasy setting with our own unique twists. You guys, I have set up a new home-based desk for you. Feel free to fool around with the things in there. They all should be fool-aroundable.
Awesome.
And if you check the handouts under the journal, I have added the files that Corey was kind enough to create from the PDF for the Rat's Nest, your home base, your hideout, your safe house, and the crew sheet for the firm. The Factual Information Reconnaissance Militia. And as well as the neighborhood map. So if you take a look at that, you will see that there are a number of zones marked out. It's kind of a combination of like a metaphorical map and like physical, and like physical relationships between where things are in the neighborhood. It's neither in both of those. It's somewhere in between. It's more of a notional kind of thing. Just to give you a visual representation of who's around, what the major players are, and size correlates to influence and power.
Awesome. This is a really cool map.
Excellent. Okay. So, we ended last session. Hi, Grimslag. I'm glad there's no buffering. That was a problem restricted to my day job. The three of you, it has been decided, are senior officers of the firm, which is an organization that has kind of on again, off again been around for quite some time. It preceded you guys kind of taking it over. And we haven't completely decided who or why or how each of you got into the firm, which is fine, because you are kind of founding your own iteration of it. But in the Rat's Nest, there are other people around, all with their own concerns and lives, who are sort of adjunct members, associates of the firm. They may engage in some factual reconnaissance, some factual information reconnaissance, but they are not senior officers and therefore not making major decisions. So, I would like for each of you to roll a D100, and if you want to make something up, you can. And it's what I'm talking about is characters, junior officers in the firm, people who you can call upon for assistance, but they're not agents, they're not outside contacts. They are within the rat's nest, the tangle of cables and wires that makes up your home on the broken bridge in the middle of the sprawling city. You can make up a character, or you can make up a feature of the rat's nest. Not something that has a major mechanical benefit, like we determined through the game mechanics that you guys chose that you have a scavenge zone where there's an enormous broken down factory where you can go and find valuable things and gain favors thereby. But this is more like something Matt threw into the chat, that in order to heat up food, there's a place where certain wires are still alive as they try to run across the bridge, and they kind of get hot where some wires are crossed, and you can use that as a kind of stovetop. This is something that you guys can upgrade, and you guys can kind of every time you successfully complete an operation, I'll let you roll on a table to kind of attract or to detail a new person, or attract a new person as an associate member of the firm, or add some minor upgrade to the rat nest. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. And I've actually already got a feature that just occurred to me. That would be a lot of fun.
Hit me.
Instead of having like a traditional way of handling the garbage, we've got basically a sludge elemental that we feed.
I love that. What's its name?
I'm gonna go Pokemon here, and his name is Muck.
All right. So you have a friend named Muck who lives down at the kind of bottom.
So this is a bridge, right? So it's got to be like in
under
something,
the bridge.
or is it? But does it wander around, or is it like in a particular like basin or something?
Do you keep close track of Muck's movements?
Probably pretty decent track.
Let's say Muck comes by and eats.
So he's able to move then. That's kind of what I was asking.
It's tough to tell with elementals.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping to define a little bit like how the elementals work via this guy.
I guess it doesn't move very far, but it just kind of moves back and forth around the bridge. There's this presence, this trash presence, this sludge elemental.
Oh, now I'm picturing like it's a literal pile of trash that has a personality.
That's basically what it is.
Is in different places at different times, and we think we're throwing trash into him all the time.
Do.
But
it does
not.
seem to get broken down, and Muck seems to slowly
like the trash moves
grow.
around. Are are we aware that the trash moving around is a spirit of some kind, or just trash moves around?
Well, Buzz claims that it's real, and the trash does seem to disappear.
Yep.
Wasn't there a character like that on Fraggle Rock?
Was there?
There was a
Amazing.
sentient
I am not sure.
compost heap.
Yeah, this sounds great. Sentient trash pile that I'm not certain is actually sentient, and I never am certain if I'm actually throwing trash into it or not.
Well, whatever it is, muck is the name of it. And that's how you take care of your trash. We will definitely add that in as the new feature. Okay, I'm just notating that in the 4th sheet of our world creation document. All right. You guys, you really just finished a discussion and came to a decision about your next operation. So,
did we actually come to a decision? I don't remember the tail end.
We decided at least that we were going to talk to the troll to get more information about the supposedly fake riot.
Sounds good.
And Buzz made the decision that he's going to stand well behind everyone else when talking to the troll.
all right. Are you guys still going with that?
Sure.
Think so.
Okay. So this is essentially a free downtime action. Is there anything you want to declare? Any particular way you want to approach this meet? Or are you just going to show up and see how it goes?
All right, so we know that he can usually be found tagging under this bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't want me to come up with the plan, since I'm the ex-cop and that really pisses me off.
I don't care who comes up with any plan.
I'm not thinking Patch is much of a plan ahead kind of guy anyway, so.
All right.
Well, Buzz's plan would basically be to, like, give him a cell phone and then talk to him that way. Like, Buzz does not want to get anywhere near a troll.
Like, do we understand
phone.
why that is? Is that just like a Fey thing that you don't like trolls?
Trolls are very big and very mean, and Buzz is very tiny and very easy to hit. Or to swat at least. So,
Ouch.
he's had bad experiences with trolls.
All right. It is night when you guys are supposed to meet this troll under the freeway overpass. Hey, Dark Society Network. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Grimslag suggests doing background checks, matrix stuff, check street rumors on the troll.
Uh,
We might want to try doing that.
Yeah, those are good
I guess we
ideas.
don't-
did any of us make that kind of character? I don't know. The ex-cop sounds like a person who might do background checks. I don't know that my guy does that.
I mean, I don't really have access to my background check mechanism, but I can do my best.
I just meant sounds like someone who might be inclined to do that kind of thing. Where I I'm not even certain I would want to do it.
What would that be? I'm still getting used to the skills here. Would that be analyze?
Maybe.
I would probably
Analyze
use
could make
sight.
sense. It'd be operate for like looking or for like operating a device to look for information.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be more research. I mean,
Well,
like
yeah,
I'm
I
not doing a
think it comes back
proper
to how
background.
you're trying to do it, right? Like, all the system's all about, like, your intent, right? So, if you were going to try to, like, use by-the-book techniques to cipher information off of the feed, like, that might be sight or something, because it's more methodical, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that's what she would do.
The book made it, or the PDF made it pretty clear that there's no one like hack skill, because it's all about like how you're going about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, like if it was, if it was a gather information check in Blades, it probably would be like maybe study or something like that. And I'm trying to figure out what the
Unless
equivalent would be.
you could go into like chat rooms and things and mingle to find things out. Like,
It depends how you want to go about it.
yeah,
It's going to be a different action.
Okay. I'm gonna try and do the background check just by like researching him online and trying to figure who he is.
Okay. That's a bit difficult since you don't know much about him. But go
we
ahead
also
and
said
make...
that the feed is very like AR centric in our setting, so I don't know how much you can find out without like actually going places in our version of the internet.
I mean, so I know some things about him. So probably what I would do is I would start off by looking at, like stories about union breaking and info about union breaking, whether we're talking about like official news stories or forum posts or things like that, and look for mentions of trolls that were there, and kind of try to narrow it down from that. And then from there, get maybe some more specific details about him that I could leverage into some other searches or some specific questions that I could ask people.
Sounds like a long shot, but why don't you try your luck anyway? So go ahead and make a gather information roll using your analyze.
All right. And I don't have any like risky or any like stuff like that. Just gather.
Yeah, no, it would be a fortune roll, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Hence, try your luck. Kenny suggests I would check City Hall and the local library, just to have an ID on the troll, and if you found where he was located, blueprints on the building he resides in. All they know is that they're supposed to meet a troll under the freeway overpass.
Yeah, I don't feel like I know much of anything.
And
do you have the little blurb from that we actually got about this job that you could just paste into chat somewhere? I don't want to randomize too much, but if you have the text, that would be very helpful to remind me.
Generally speaking, I'm not going to do that because that's your job. But I will say that that you got information through Badge's contact, a reporter, who told you that about this. Or no, you asked the reporter for information. You actually got the job through your old friend of the police force.
I think it was the PI.
Okay, the PI.
The occult investigator who works with the police.
And he told you that the job has something to do with an incited or fake riot. That Automotive Imperial Systems was going to make some kind of move through this back alley method on Barton Motors.
Right.
And that Barton Motors had some disgruntled employees.
And then how did the troll fit in? Sorry, I just straight up don't remember.
The troll is going to give you more information and actually give you the job. Give you the...
Yeah, I am prepared to go just talk to this troll. But let's see how your roll went.
Well, you didn't get a 5. You have heard, or you do find some information, some records in an online archive through City Hall, in the feed, that about Eric Gomez. Eric Gomez, the troll, who kind of shows up at various riots. Not a lot of clear correlation between companies. Never anything involving these two aforementioned corporations before. But you can't get much more information than that, other than that, for a troll, he's very short.
I'm going to convey this reassuring information to Buzz.
Oh, okay. So he's very short. So he's only about 100 times my size instead of 200 times my size. Got it.
Look. You're the one who brought up his height as being the barrier to talking to him. I'm just trying to help you feel a little bit better about the plan.
Are trolls like 200 feet tall in this setting? I'm confused.
Don't just mean height. Overall, like, size.
I mean,
And maybe a little bit of hyperbole.
We're talking about Buzz's feet. I mean, they're probably not very big.
All right. So, we cut to a clear night, not too far in the future. The lights are blazing over the parking lot and shining a little bit hazily in the ever-present smog, way down at a lower level of the city, with the tremendous corporate and guild buildings looming overhead, so all the office drones can toil away the evening. You guys are crunching through a rare patch of greenery, pushing aside the vines and bushes that have sprung up on a patch of dirt under the enormous freeway. Overhead, you can hear the cars rushing by. There's a truck grinding its way past. And as you come up over the rise, having climbed into this kind of strange, difficult to reach unless you're told how, of course, but it would otherwise be difficult to reach. This kind of strange ledge with one freeway above you and the even lower levels of the city down below.
Right, so we're not even like close to ground level still. We're still like halfway up some skyscraper or something.
You are closer than the rat's nest is.
Sure.
You don't see. Well, actually, if you peek over this cliff, you might be able to see actual ground level. Is that what you want to do?
Oh, I'm just trying to picture it.
Yeah. The cars are rushing past, and you see this guy in a black hoodie with gray sweatpants and a greenish backpack, faced away from you, leaning up against one of the tremendous concrete pillars that holds up the overpass. He's writing something halfway between arcane runes and gang signs on the column. And if you take a look at Roll20, you will have an easier time picturing it.
Oh, it was like halfway down a black page before I got to it. Thank you.
As you come crunching over, he pauses in his work, shakes a thing, and you can hear the little ball inside rattling. And he looks over his shoulder at you guys. Hey! You can see he's extraordinarily hairy. Kind of a... he's got this big kind of Celtic red hair under his kind of pressed down by his hoodie, and he's got this kind of enormous nose poking out of it. And in the picture, you can't really get a sense of the guy's scale, but of course, short for a troll is right around just under 7 feet tall. He's a big guy, and he has these kind of short, close to his head curling horns under the red hair. And he says, "Hey, are you the ones interested in the job?"
Sure.
That's us.
He finishes what he was doing and hops down from the pillar. He says, "I've heard that the firm specializes in finding out information, getting the goods, the facts."
Yep, that's what we do best.
He kind of looks. He kind of leans to one side.
I can hear that you're hiding behind someone somehow.
and looks around. We'll say it's Patch. He looks around Patch. His hoodie kind of falling over his horns, and is like, a pipsqueak. I bet you're good at your job.
I like to think so. Please don't hit me.
Hit you? Why would I hit you? You done something?
No, promise I haven't. Nope, definitely not.
All right. He sets down the spray can with a clink and reaches over a very meaty and red hair-backed hand to shake. I guess Badge's hand first.
Yeah, I'll shake.
Each of you, and he says, "I'm Eric Gomez, and I've got a problem."
Yeah, that's generally why people ask for us.
All right. So, here's the dope. The Barton Motors has not been treating their people right. And they been working on this convention. This big convention coming up. And there's been a lot of overtime. I won't bore you with all the details. Basically, he's kind of looking from one to the other of you. I guess I'll take a chance and trust you. Basically, both these companies have some pay data. Information that's worth credits. Get me? Stuff they don't want the other to find out. So I figure, why not make a bit of cash and stop a riot at the same time? What do you say?
What kind of data are we looking for?
Well,
You don't have to give us the details, but we need to know when we found it.
right. As you try to extract information from him, this is going to be a roll. So who's kind of talking to him the most? It sounds like Badge.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time as the player because I'm not feeling so great.
That's okay, man.
But
I
like
wish you were feeling better.
I think in the future, like Patch might be more talkative, but I think right now it's definitely Badge.
That's okay. So Badge, how do you want to go about gathering information from this guy?
Well,
Because he has information, but it's kind of like he keeps getting distracted and talking about, kind of side stuff.
I'd like to make an intuit roll to figure out, like, the right questions to ask him. Like, zero in on the information that's important.
Interesting. Also, I should say, during the whole conversation, he keeps trying to look around you guys and, like, get a better... He's very curious about Buzz.
If he keeps trying to, like, look around at him, Buzz is gonna, like, keep darting around to try to avoid eye contact.
Got it. I thought I had the rulebook open, but I just have the crew sheet open. And I'm like, I've just spent like 15 seconds. Like, why are there no bookmarks? Okay, sorry. What are you gonna do?
So I'm trying to use an intuit roll to like zero in on the good questions to ask him and kind of pick out the proper information.
Okay. This will be a controlled roll. And the effectiveness intuit, you say? Okay, so you're going to try and figure out like what he's saying. What among this information actually matters? So go ahead and make your roll. It will be standard effectiveness controlled.
That's a 5.
The most interesting possible result. Okay. So he says, your ears perk up when he says, "Of course, both of them are shell companies anyway."
And what's that supposed to mean?
Shell companies? Well, that's when...
I know what a shell company is. Why?
There's like this series of like entangled, like various kind of things. Oh, you know what a shell company is. He kind of blinks.
Yes. I mean, what are they shell companies for? I mean, we've seen the cars around where they're holding a convention. You know, they sure seem like they're actual companies. What? I guess I'm not entirely clear on why exactly we need to take down both of them in order to prevent this riot.
For the first time, he's always seemed totally comfortable kind of like spewing these words. Now, once he gets started talking, it seems like he's hard to stop. But for the first time, he looks over his shoulder. As if there would be something or someone, like, out in thin air over the cliff, trying to listen in. He says, well, the thing is, both of these companies are kind of bullshit. Barton Motors is just a shell corporation for Olympisoft. And Automotive Imperial Applications, owned by Allfather Incorporated. And that's the straight dope.
Well, shit. Buzz, you want to fly around and take a quick little reconnaissance around the area?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. No problem.
Interesting.
We didn't like pick load or anything, right? It's like, can we have like our gear with us, or
Declare it now.
okay?
This is like a mini score. This is like a mini operation.
Because like theoretically, Patch has like drones and shit that he could,
Sure.
deploy. But I just realized I don't actually have any of that on my character sheet yet because I didn't copy the playbook specific items in.
Okay. Well, you can work that out as we go, and Patch probably wouldn't have been surrounded by a cloud of drones approaching this guy because that would be
no. It's just like if we're gonna take the step of like sending Buzz out to fly around, then it might be safer to send a drone.
Yeah, he suddenly was acting nervous, and so I I kind of assumed that the reason he picked this place was because it was deserted,
Yeah.
but he doesn't seem to think so.
Buzz, what's your hunt score?
There
You mean
isn't a
seek?
hunt, but there is a seek,
That.
and my seek is 2.
Buzz is really good at this anyway. So I feel like this might be his job regardless.
Oh, that's totally fair. Yeah.
Yeah, Buzz can handle this part for sure.
Alright. So that is going to be a seek roll, and the position is controlled. The effect is standard.
Okay.
As Buzz goes whirring around, the troll Eric, kind of looks up, his hood kind of falling back, and like follows you.
I'm gonna, or Patch is gonna like wave his hand in front of his face real quick and be like, Eric, just don't worry about him.
Yeah.
We want to help these people. We don't want them to be, mistreated. We're all on the same team here. Do you think someone is listening? Are you worried?
You can't be too careful.
Buzz got a 6 on his seek roll.
Awesome.
Buzz, that's very good. There are, always drones and spirits nearby. But this spot, this windy kind of patch of earth, you're not sensing that any of those things are paying any attention to you guys. It's actually quite a secluded little spot.
Okay. All right.
Of course, if there was powerful magic masking a spirit, making it invisible, or something along those lines, you might not have a chance of finding it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, since you said it's pretty windy here, I'm gonna try to summon a spirit of air.
Okay.
So basically, I'm gonna try to summon a spirit of air and try to get it to, basically make sure that our words don't get carried away by the wind, to try to minimize the number of people who could potentially hear us.
Now you're a wise one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And my special ability is summoning.
Sending out a fragment of his soul, Buzz calls upon this windy area to call up a spirit of the air.
Now, doing this is normally an ego action.
Doing this is normally an ego action.
Yeah. So I'm thinking influence probably makes the most sense for this one. Basically I'm trying to give it orders. I'm not really trying to be its friend.
Okay. Now, interesting. All right, but
Yeah, the full
this...
text of the full text of the ability is using an ego action, summon a spirit from the environment around you. The more powerful the spirit, the more dangerous the summoning.
Got it. So what power are you going for? What tier?
Yeah, I'm not going for anything super powerful. So I'm
Tier 0?
thinking I might do tier 1.
Okay.
Let's make it more interesting.
All right.
But I will also pull out a talisman, where I actually have a tiny bottle that actually has a very tiny tornado inside of it.
That's awesome.
And so I'm going to use that to try to assist in the summoning.
Write that down somewhere. Okay. So selecting from one of his pouches this talisman that contains a whirling enchanted tornado, a tiny whirlwind. He's going to try and call upon this windy locale to manifest a spirit of the air. Go ahead and make a... Oh, you said it's an ego roll normally?
Yeah, just some ego action. So I'm thinking influence.
What are the ego actions?
Influence, intuit, mingle, and perform.
Yeah, it'd probably either be influence or mingle.
Okay. Yeah, I would prefer to do I would prefer to do influence.
All right, go for it. So it's going to be a controlled position.
Okay.
The effect will be... The effect will be standard.
Okay.
All the colors of the wind.
Oh God.
Okay. You send out a fragment of your soul, holding it within your talisman, and it spins out. And you sense there is something there. Something that could be awakened. Something dormant. Something quiet. You could pull it out, but it would be stronger than Tier 1, and it would not be happy at being awakened.
I'm willing to let that sleeping spirit lie.
Okay. I assume you were going to have that spirit look for invisible spirits?
What I was actually going to do was just have it, or I was going to have it basically try to essentially eat the words as we say them, so they don't get out of our immediate area.
Oh my god.
Like try to stop the wind.
So I forgot to tell you guys my house rule about the cool factor. But that would have definitely applied.
Would
Okay.
have.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But that's a very cool idea. And now you know that the spirit is here, if you ever come back here.
Okay.
All right. So
yeah, I'll fly back down and let everybody know. Yeah, there's definitely nothing listening unless it's a super powerful magic. But I don't think anybody would waste that for an area like this. So I think we're fine. Yeah, we're definitely fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're fine.
You talk pretty fast, friend. Of course, when we're talking about Allfather Incorporated and Olympus, we're Olympussoft. We're talking about the potential for powerful magic, but hopefully we're too small fry. Especially you, friend.
Yes. Definitely small fry. Not worth trouble for sure. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the pay data. So I figure these companies within companies, corporations, mega corporations, actually. They're playing this shell game with each other. And what better way to get them to both back off and stop comparing their dick size than if somebody were to go in and get the data that proves what each one is and sell it to the other. And he goes like this.
It's a dangerous game you're playing, friend. I mean, it's your skin on the line, but you run the risk of pissing off some very powerful people.
Well, all I need is the proof.
I definitely like the idea, though. It's like lifting up all 3 cups in the shell game at once.
Yeah, it's like that. Of course, I'm not doing this alone. The people I work for will protect me from. I won't have to do it directly.
I'm glad you have so much confidence in your employers.
Sure.
So,
You know what's bad for tourism? Riots.
Yeah, bad for everybody, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, what we need to do is collect this pay data for you and return it to you so that you can blow up both companies with an even bigger scandal and the riot doesn't ever even get off the ground.
Exactly. And there might be other pay data in it for you, too. I mean, I don't know. You're the experts at finding facts. But, I don't know what other secrets there might be. Maybe, there's both the strike breakers and the potential striking workers would probably pay if you were able to get proof. Nobody listens to Eric Gomez unless he has proof. But that would be another potential source of pay data.
I gotcha. All right. So where exactly do we go to get this data?
Well, they're gonna have it. They're gonna have it on hand at their companies. They're going to need to be sending regular reports of their activities, especially as the convention ramps up. So you get in, you do your thing, you do whatever you do. Maybe you get a hold of one of those status reports to the bigger fish, and
Sure.
Well, there's your proof. There's your pay data. Then you get paid. Yeah.
Understood. And we bring it back to you?
Yeah, you bring it back here. I'll meet you here. I like to do things in person. But
Definitely seems wise in this situation.
But if that's not possible, you can send it over the feed. I'll give you an address.
And how will we let you know when we're ready to meet you here?
You just send me the signal, friend. But you got to do it before the riot happens.
Right. How many days do we have before that happens?
Oh, you've got a good amount of time. A month.
Oh. Well then, that should be plenty of time.
Good.
Do we know anything else about these 4 companies? Are these well-known names?
They are, well, no. Barton Motors and Automotive Imperial are not super well known.
Those are small fish.
Those are small fish, but they are in your neighborhood, so
Okay.
you might potentially know about them.
And then Olympisoft and Allfather Incorporated, are these big names, or are these just... Okay.
Yeah. Allfather Incorporated, the CEO is Odin.
Oh, I assumed.
And Zeus is the owner of Olympisoft.
They are well known. They are in the factions page. There's no further information written down about them yet. But we can do that together.
Would either one of them have a reputation that kind of goes along with like this whole not treating their people right and kind of working people too much?
They're megacorps.
Is that just everybody's like that?
They're megacorps. Everybody's like that at that level.
Got it.
If you want to get ahead, that's what you do.
All right, so we go into the facilities, we steal the pay data, and we bring it back to you. Sounds very simple. Anything else we need to ask?
I can't think of anything right now. How do we get in touch with you?
He gives you a feed address, basically an email address, where you can contact him. It seems like it's definitely not his main one.
Right.
He says, keep an eye out, because they'll have some security. Nothing like the megacorps. Nothing like the big daddies can bring. But after all, they're not supposed to, overplay their hand. So it won't be, shouldn't be too scary. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. But you should expect some security checks on the way in, and for the data to be protected somehow, and maybe light magical protection, but nothing too serious or lethal, I would guess. Well, at least I guess guns are always lethal.
Yeah.
Avoid the guns, got it.
Well, this has all been really good information. Thanks for getting on the level with us. I didn't really know what I was walking into, considering that I'd heard that you were involved in union breaking, and wasn't really sure why someone in that line of work would be interested in, causing trouble for the corpse, but I'm glad that you and whoever your employer has had a change of heart.
Well, my employers, they're interested in what benefits them. Sometimes that's strike breaking, but not this time.
Right.
That's dirty work. I don't like it.
Can I do some kind of an insight check on him? I know that's not.
That's not really a thing.
Intuit.
You could do.
Give him a nice fist bump.
What are you asking me? What are you asking?
I want to sense motive.
On what?
On. I think it's pretty much what I said. I think it's weird that him and his organization, who are involved in union breaking and strike breaking, are all of a sudden interested in potentially pissing off the two of the biggest corporations in the area, not just in terms of the danger of pissing these people off for personal safety, but also this is their job.
So this is a little bit of a grittier, more realistic system in certain ways, or at least more narrative than D&T. So rather than that kind of thing being a check, how would you handle that in the real world? You'd ask a follow-up question, you'd maybe go do some research, try and track down some information. You can't really look at someone and figure out what, you can't mind read them.
Well, while you're trying to read his mind, Patch is going to give him a friendly, kind of half-hearted slap on the shoulder and say, "Well, we'll keep fighting the good fight too. They can't get away with this kind of crap. Right on, brother."
Oh yeah. Definitely not getting away with anything. That's not with you guys on the case, I'm sure. I look forward to a profitable outcome.
Yeah.
No rioting. No rioting.
I mean, it's got to be a pretty big payday. I mean, you know, considering that you're going after these corps, I'd imagine that neither them nor any of their affiliates would be interested in hiring your company after you ratted them out like that.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't be interested in hiring me anyway. I don't go in for that sort of wage slave nonsense.
Well, I mean, just in general, as, you know, an outside contractor. But, you know, I'm, like I said, I'm just glad you had a chance.
I just don't want any riots to be happening. That's what my employers are interested in. No riots. And making
Sounds
some money.
good.
Yep, sounds great. Nice to meet you. It was very surprising that you weren't nearly as mean as any other trolls that I met. Anyway, gotta go. Time to go, guys. Let's go.
So as we prepare to head back, I did finally look up my items, and one of them is utility vehicle, which is a nondescript utility vehicle like a white van or basic rental car. So I don't know what form it takes exactly, but I'm guessing we came here in Patch's van that he probably keeps running himself and is very, very kind of kit bashed together from other vehicles.
Nice. Let's write that down somewhere.
And probably has a name. I will come up with a name later.
It definitely would have a name. He would name it.
But like, so in this city, it can't just be like a basic van, right? It has to have some kind of like hovering capacity, right?
Sure. I mean, it can, or it could
Well,
have.
like, what's the equivalent of the generic white van?
Oh no, I think we actually decided that there were no flying cars. So there are.
Because the bridges, right?
You know in order to hover, you would probably need a helicopter.
No, that's fine.
Futuristic helicopter.
That's even better. So it is just a junky van.
Yeah, it's literally a van.
It is straight out of Ant-Man had that van that they drove around in, like straight out of that kind of thing. It's just pieced together from other vehicles.
Nice.
Like this.
I'm just seeing a generic white van from above. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, I have a rust.
Yeah, but it's definitely more pieced together than way too all one color. Sure. Closer. Yes.
Or is it like this?
That's the dream, right?
That's one day.
Someday. When you have to find the wings first and find the booster. But we'll get there. We'll get there, Van.
It's pretty funny. Didn't know I had that.
And he definitely talks to the van, so that's why it's important that I know what the van's name is.
Exactly. Okay. Well, are you guys done with the scene with Eric Gomez?
I think so.
Yep, I think I'm set.
Okay. As you turn away, you notice him kind of tapping at something in the air as though he is interacting with his own AR display, probably letting his employers know how the meet just went. Then he goes back and begins vigorously shaking in his big meaty troll hand another can of spray paint. All right, back to the rat's nest. Are there any preparatory things you guys want to do? You don't have to plan ahead in this game. You can handle that
through flashbacks. Don't forget. So you don't have to entirely figure everything out, but if there's something you guys want to, like an asset you want to acquire, or if there's some other information you want to look up ahead of time.
So you said these guys are in our neighborhood, right? So
Yeah.
do we have some existing impression of them? Like, especially if I do have just established that I have a van and they are automotive in some way. Maybe I have gone to them for parts.
Absolutely.
Or,
that would make sense.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly, they're kind of mid-level to not, to not enormous, like, car companies.
Like car manufacturers or vendors? Or both?
Both. Or rather, it's a good question. I hadn't thought about that.
Or like just automotive repair, even.
They sell car parts and have some of their own like pieces.
Okay.
So they're more like body shops kind of thing.
They're more like body shops.
Okay.
But they're not like your local mechanic. They're they sell pieces. Maybe if there's a problem with one of their pieces, they might fix it. But
so like they might make like carburetors and brake pads and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
we probably come across their parts then. Like, which one of their brands do we see more in the junk piles? I guess is probably the way that we would know them best. Like, oh, those parts are crap.
Probably a little more Automotive Imperial than Barton, but they're both like fairly recent. You, Patch, would be able to tell that most of their pieces like come from other manufacturers that are then they file off the serial number.
They're not craftsmen. They're resellers. Ew.
They definitely are.
Well, I don't like either of them. And apparently they're working their people to death. So yeah, let's take these bastards down.
Certainly Barton is. Automotive Imperial Applications make some of their own stuff, and not all of it's bad. You would previously have gotten the impression that they were looking to, kind of make the leap to the next tier of, the next level of relevance. But apparently not.
So I'd like to do a little bit of research if this isn't something that I would already know. Who are the corps that are the biggest rivals to Allfather and Olympisoft?
Well, for are you just looking for basic information, or are you trying to get like secret info?
I mean, I'd love secret info if I can get it, but but basic if I can't get anything else.
All right. Well, if you describe how you go about getting it, then I won't make you roll for basic.
Okay. Well, I am going to... You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to get lists of publicly owned subsidiaries, not the shell corporations, necessarily, but like all these corporations have known like sub brands and sub companies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get that list. And I'm going to look into two things with them. The first thing is going to be service areas, if relevant. And the second thing is going to be political donation records.
Okay. Interesting. So, looking that up, you find that both of these megacorps have been jockeying for advantage for a while. They have some interests in competition, and they both would like to take over your neighborhood. In terms of influence. Now, there's a lot of megacorps and other factions that, for which that is true. But these, they definitely are interested, and that might be why they opened these shell companies in the area. They, Allfather in particular would seem to be kind of winning due to a recent kind of partnership that they've announced, a new initiative that would indicate a kind of alliance between that megacorp and the Circle of the Silver Star. You're not quite sure about the nature of that relationship, but they seem to be working together, and that's kind of giving Allfather Incorporated an edge. On the other hand, Olympus Soft has long been closely kind of taken a big bite out of people licensed by the Spark Guild. So they have some deep roots going back in alliance with that guild, and that kind of has long given them an edge. Now, as megacorps, they have interest in a huge number of... They have interest in everything. From the sugary sodas that Buzz loves to drink, to the cars that... especially the oldie cars that these two shell companies are kind of jockeying for position on. So they're in everything. They're in every possible business, practically.
That's some interesting information.
It's also to their benefit. It might actually benefit both of them. Well, for there to be a riot in the neighborhood.
And why would that be?
Because then they could come in with their private security and say, obviously, we need to keep the peace so that everyone can stay safe. Although that would be harder for the one whose employees rioted to actually say.
Are there any other big corporations that are like in our immediate area?
There are. Check out the map.
All right, so I'm seeing Vertex and Cunningham.
Mm-hmm. They have. They are both megacorps.
Okay.
They have large buildings and control areas in your neighborhood.
Now, are they affiliated with deities or are they mundane megacorps, to my knowledge?
Not to the point where it's in the name. But almost certainly there are entities within those organizations of one type or another.
Okay.
There have been rumors that the Cunningham family, there are weird rumors about them, but nobody knows for sure.
Okay.
At least, not without more information.
All right. Well, I guess that's all the information that I want to look up for now.
Okay. Anything else, guys, before we jump into the operation?
So we do need to think a little bit about what our general plan is. So are we just trying to sneak in using stealth? Are we trying to pull some kind of trick with cunning?
Yeah, we need to choose an approach, right? That's what this comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull up the rule book. Are there any differences?
Yeah, so the six plans, and you can see these on your character sheet just underneath where your items are. The 6 plans are barter with a desired resource, chaos with chaotic power, cunning with manipulation method, force as a point of attack, social with social capital or connection, and stealth with an infiltration point.
So I'm not really clear on what cunning or chaos actually are.
Chaos, I think,
a diversion.
is more like, yeah.
But like, isn't that still just like stealth? Like, because you're gonna sneak in
well, not
during
necessarily.
the
Like using this this scenario as an example.
I think stealth means you don't want to raise the alarm, and the other method is there's so much going on that the alarm isn't focused on you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's also, like, with cunning, you could say that it's essentially like using this score as an example, assuming that the pay data gets sent like with drones or something like that, then we might use cunning to, send or like have a drone that sends a duplicate signal while we take the other one temporarily offline. Like, that would be a cunning plan to me, as opposed to a stealth plan.
We will learn this better as we go. I haven't been able to absorb every piece of information.
Just like in Blades, this feels like a really hard thing to just decide with no information.
Well, here's
and we
where
need to get more information.
possibly. But here's where I want to jump in with a possible house rule.
Okay.
The cool factor rule. So, basically, I feel strongly that in this rule set, one of the things that is that can really help the game be awesome is having an awesome flashback or engagement bit. And I think that we can do more with it. So I want to kind of implement a house rule that does something similar to the wushu fighting rules in Exalted, or other games where you come up, or where there's like a stunt or some kind of cool maneuver you come up with that gives you a bonus. But instead of it working like, for combat moves and such, I want to apply the cool factor rule to flashbacks. So you come up with something awesome, some awesome idea, something maybe even a little bit nuts, that fits the genre of cyberpunk fantasy, or the heist movie, and we'll rate it. We'll give it a cool rating of cool, bitchin', or fucking awesome. And a rating of cool will reduce your flashback stress cost by 1. A rating of bitchin' will reduce your flashback stress cost by 2. And if it's fucking awesome, it's going to get an extra bonus, like a +1 die roll. +1 dice on the roll.
Alrighty.
And so I want to do something similar for engagement rolls as well. And just give you guys bonus dice on the engagement roll if you come up with something really cool for us to kick off the operation with. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, what? So I guess, yeah. Pick your plan type: barter, chaos, cunning, force, social, or stealth, and select your loadout level.
I mean, cunning is probably going to be best for my skill set, but, I don't know how it is with y'all's.
Honestly, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of thinky characters, right?
Yeah, so maybe we're going in with like some disguises or something in order to try to
Yeah, maybe.
get the information we're looking for.
Sure.
Like, I'm ready to sweet talk a security system over here, so.
Yeah, I mean, true, like not being seen kind of stealth is definitely not my character's strong suit.
Right. Well, except
Yeah, no,
like
I
you're
don't.
small, and so you can like get in through a vent or something, maybe.
That's true, but my character tends to. I assume my flight is pretty noisy because I have no stealth. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of take issue with one of the plans being literally the same name as one of the actions, because like there's sneaky stealth, but then there's also like lying and like pretending we're someone else. And is that just cunning at that point? Like can you only do a stealth plan if you are going to be making stealth rolls? Like, it seems limiting.
I agree. But to me, the plan is just a very broad general category. Yeah. And the thing that actually is interesting is the detail that you guys come up with.
Yeah.
So, are you gonna swoop in? Are you gonna parachute in from helicopters? Take a
As cool as that
tunnel,
sounds.
talk your way in with disguises. How are you going to handle the fact that there's 2 locations? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. The fact that there's 2 locations also actually is a pretty interesting problem.
Well, we don't have to hit them both at once, do we?
No.
What if we played? What if the 2 locations was actually part of our plan? Like, for example, we posed as people who were shopping around for something.
Yeah, so cunning, we find a product that is sold by both of them and pose as buyers for said product and attempt to get essentially a tour of both locations to decide which one we want to go with.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna buy 10,000 spark plugs. Show us where you make the spark plugs.
Right.
And try to get in to both locations. That might be something interesting. But we might have to do the background research of finding some product they both sell. And as we were talking about before, they're mostly resellers more than they are manufacturers.
Right, but maybe we could be talking about, well, we're starting a such and such a thing, and we have the backing of so and so we're going to be, we want you to be the provider for the spark plugs for an entire new line of drones that's being manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We could also just pose as janitors or something.
There's also that. I mean, you and I don't stand out very much, but I feel like we're going to have a hard time sneaking around with Buzz. Not a whole lot of pixie janitors.
Just put him in a backpack.
Oh, it's just my janitor backpack.
I would like to say that Buzz is almost exactly the same size as my 1-year-old daughter.
Yep. Into the backpack.
She would fit in a backpack.
I want it to be like a recurring thing that we have a duffel bag that is specifically the duffel bag we put Buzz in when we have to.
I've seen things like that happen in Shadowrun.
It's got snacks in there for you and everything. Like it's it's your home away from home.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of what magical means I might be able to use to get some or get us an entry point.
Would we be able to take a 5-minute break so I can pee?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
This is a good time for a break. So you guys kind of have started to formulate a plan, and we will settle on something. Maybe you can take 5 minutes and think about it, and when we return, we will continue the Sprawling City Session 1. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, folks, and be right back. Bye for now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm back.
And we're live. Okay. Thanks for sticking with us. So, what is the method? What is the detail that you guys are going with? How are you approaching this?
Did you have a thing, Corey, that you said you were trying to figure out, or?
Yeah, I can't really come up with anything. Like, I might be able to try to use like a spirit of metal or something to try to create a door for us. If we wanted to try to be sneaky, or if we wanted to try to create a surprise point. I could definitely get an elemental to create a diversion if we wanted that. But I'm not really too sure about what else I might be able to do off the top of my head.
Alrighty.
So, I like the idea of kind of trying to play them off of each other a little bit. So we could pose as buyers. We could also pose as sellers, because since they do a lot of reselling, there might be something we can pretend that we've, got a line on some part that they would be able to, resell in the area. I don't know. I, the player, don't have any stronger idea than that.
That's an interesting idea, because then it would seem like we were just trying to start a bidding war. So maybe being right. Okay, that could cover up a lot of like emotional stuff, sort of like, we wouldn't have to explain being nosy, asking questions, excuse me, etc.
Well, like being a buyer, I feel like we would be able to ask a lot of questions because we're trying to like vet their supplier essentially.
Right.
But I mean, either one of these can cover up a lot of inquisitiveness.
Yeah, but I meant in terms of like having a little bit more, I don't want to say hostile, but kind of an aggressive tack might fit a little better with trying to start a bidding war rather than, being a buyer. Like, they're just different.
Well, and you could start a bidding war in either direction, right? You were trying to get them to either supply us lower than the other or buy from us higher than the other. Either way, you can play it as a bidding war. I can't think of anything really cool that we could be trying to sell them, though.
I mean, we could, say, would you be able, hey, would you be able to hack together some kind of like a prototype of something, something
quantum carburetor or some bullshit? Yeah, probably.
Sure, or like an AI GPS, or just something like really desirable and weird.
Like, I, the player, have no idea what would be appropriate, but the character could probably make all sorts of weird shit. Yeah.
So yeah, we could be like, we have this product and we want to start manufacturing it, and we want to know who we're going to be giving the the branding rights to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I like that.
If we posed as people from like Cunningham Cryptotechnics or something, we could be trying to sell the idea of like a smart car or something, and wanting to buy parts from one of the two local distributors.
That's a possibility.
Pose it as a potential ongoing business deal, like a joint venture or something.
And they are trying to.
That also gives us more reason to look into things beyond just what their sales are.
They're trying to take over or gain influence in the area, so that helps with that as well.
Does Cunningham have some kind of like an automotive or transportation arm that we would be
Absolutely.
able to? All right.
Cryptotechnics just sounded like something that would be involved in AI or AI style research.
A lot more of that, though.
Right.
But
Yes.
that is not necessarily outside the realm of cars.
Right. So we propose the idea that essentially we provide the internal electronics and such, and they provide the automotive parts.
That makes sense. Patch, if you could jury rig us like a, as I said, kind of like a prototype AI, just something with
Yeah,
a
I mean,
fucking voice
if
box.
we can come up with the
interact.
that's part of his deal is making that kind of wacky shit. So, absolutely, if we have the idea, we can roll with that.
All right. Well, I think that sounds promising.
All right. So can you give me the the short description, the 2-sentence description of how you guys are going into and where you're going and what you're doing.
All right, we are going to try and set up independent meetings with both companies, posing as representatives of some division of the auto division of Cunningham, asking them to provide the mechanical shell for a sexy new AI-powered car that is top secret and should not be discussed widely. But that we want to begin manufacturing processes on soon.
Remind me, which one of these guys which one of the megacorps were in strong alliance with the Spark Guild?
Olympus Soft.
Okay. Which is affiliated with Barton. Okay.
Feel free to notate in the factions page of the world's creation document.
And to encourage them both to attend, we make a formalized and personalized letter of intent for each of them, but then quote unquote accidentally copy them both on both.
Sounds perfect. And also some kind of a bullshit NDA so that but one that specifically says that they're not allowed to talk to anybody else within our corporation about it either, because not the entire corporation is privy to this particular project.
So, who are you sending in? Who are you setting up with first? Seems like a relevant question.
I would say that we're meeting with the managers of the two places because they're likely to have the pay data, and they're low enough that they would be interested in this kind of thing without knowing the details, but high enough that it could potentially they would probably need to follow up with their bosses, but their bosses probably wouldn't want to take this kind of meeting as an introduction.
All right. So which one's first?
So let's meet with Automotive Imperial first.
All right.
For no better reason than I saw them first.
It's alphabetical.
Okay. So we're going to skip over all the planning and prep and all the information and
things you had to gather before starting this operation. And we're going to jump to the engagement roll. So, what is it called in this game?
I don't know.
I saw the plus and minus dice thing somewhere. We're all relearning the system that we already know, but slightly differently.
They changed all the names.
They changed the names of everything. I need a cheat sheet. It's not in the... Oh, it's number 5 under the prep phase. Engagement roll.
So
Alright.
it's the one thing they didn't change the name.
Yep. Exactly. Alright, so who's gonna roll it?
Well, I think
Right.
Patch hasn't made any rolls yet, so...
No, I haven't. Oh. I'll go ahead and do it. We have to figure out what the modifiers are first, though.
So, 1 dice for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? I would say that just having a meeting with the guy is a pretty bold move. And you're doing it twice. Is the operation overly complex? Man, we don't know yet. All we know is how you're getting in. So, no minuses for that. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability or hit them where they're weakest? Not particularly. Is the target strongest against this approach? Not really. Did you use a bond or gain help from a contact? Nope. Nor was there a grudge. Okay, and I don't think this I don't think it's particularly high on the bitchin' scale. So we're gonna go with 2 dice for this roll.
Oh boy.
What? Corporate contracts aren't particularly bitchin' to you?
Well, I rolled bad, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we're in a bad spot already.
Oh boy.
We are in a desperate position.
Okay. One thing... I forgot the other... Yes, I forgot something important about engagement. So one thing that I feel like is missing from the rule set is... in D&D, you never want to split the party. But in a heist movie, that's frequently what happens. Is that everybody's in a different location. It's not like running into a dungeon. It's like this very pre-planned sequence of events. So I am not going to make you guys
I'm not going to make you guys decide where you are at the start of the mission, at the start of the operation. One person, and next time we'll make it that it's the same person doing the engagement roll, is kind of going to kick things off. And then you guys can, on the fly, decide whether you're in the room with them or you're like, and now I do my thing off somewhere else. So essentially, we're going to go to a multiple engagement. There'll be multiple engagement roles, essentially. Because it gives you another tool.
So that somebody else can swoop in and save us, because they didn't go in on the desperate thing.
Exactly. Because again, there's no reason for you to have to move as a team through a dungeon, right? Because it can all be pre-planned. But the thing is, then you have to roll a new engagement roll. If you decide that you are elsewhere.
So Patch and Buzz are in having this meeting, and then Badge comes in and arrests them and gets us out of there.
Well, that is now an option for her. That is now an option for her. Okay.
You guys know that I'm not still a cop, right?
I don't know that we know that.
All right.
All right. So who is definitely in the meeting? Who will we consider to have rolled that engagement roll?
An unmanned drone.
I'm probably in that meeting, but
Okay. Somebody has to bite this bullet.
Yeah, it's I'll be honest, it kind of makes sense to me that I'm the one that's in the meeting, and the reason things went to crap is because they're not interested in dealing with a pixie. Because I cannot keep my attention span long enough to go over details with them.
That makes weird sense.
I mean, at the same time, like, I was the one who was gonna like fake up whatever this actual MacGuffin was gonna be.
True.
So.
And I'm happy to be elsewhere, and.
Well, you have the option of being here or elsewhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to decide right now.
I feel like a pretty easy explanation for why this, didn't really work is that whatever MacGuffin we had come up with either isn't actually even remotely interesting, or it literally exploded when we attempt to demo it.
Well, that would make sense. So we're gonna go with Patch because Matt made the roll anyway.
Yeah.
Before I actually explained the new rule, and he was willing, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We are going to cut to the action as you guys are standing. Actually. Yeah, you've just stepped outside the meeting room to look at a vintage car.
Like we stepped out with their representatives as well?
Exactly.
Okay.
I always start from the wrong side. And here we go.
Oh yeah, look at that car.
And what has just occurred is the conversation has been going on. Patch gets his spark plugs mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
And talks about something very modern when you're clearly talking about a vintage car.
And they all look at you, and you can see in their eyes, Patch. They're like, oh, this guy is not who he says he is.
Shit.
And you're like, everything's gone to shit all of a sudden. So one of them, who introduced himself as... hang on.
Patch is mostly used to talking to machines, so...
Well, he messed up a fact about a machine, which is...
Well, but he was talking to a person.
Extra embarrassing. Extra embarrassing.
If he was talking to the machine, he would have got it right.
Mm.
Like, talking to the car itself, he wouldn't have made this faux pas.
Is that right? Well, also he was trying to be deceptive.
Hmm.
Here we go. Wait a minute. So, this guy, Lindsay Carver, who's are you a fawn?
Me?
Yeah.
I went with the devilish background.
Oh. You're going to have to get a description of what you look like.
There's some picture, D&D Tiefling is kind of what I was going with.
Okay.
But there's some similarity there, so you might mistake someone of that heritage for being a fawn. He doesn't have, like, goat legs, though. At least, unless devil people in our setting have goat legs. I don't know how far.
Maybe you have goat legs.
Maybe.
But, okay. So you guys are at, you just stepped outside of, the...
Are we in, like, they have, like,
automotive,
like a garage
Imperial Automotive. Mm-hmm. You were at the garage. And you're looking at this car as humanity is going by. And this guy looks at you, and you can see in his eyes, like, this guy isn't who he says he is. He's Lindsay Carver. He's in his 60s. And he is a heavy-set dwarf. Marine. Former Marine. He has the haircut and the bulging muscles along his swarthy frame. And he's staring at you with these blue-green eyes, and you feel like he's about to pop out of the tailored blue suit that he wears.
Are we close, like, right up against the car, like, with the hood up? Or, like, just looking at it from...
you're
like,
just looking at it
be...
from the... You're standing on the sidewalk. There are sidewalks here.
So...
You're at a part of the city where there's actually sidewalks.
What I would like to do is to essentially try to adapt whatever this, like, fake technology thing, this, you said something about spark plugs.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get under the hood of this car and demonstrate how universal this technology is by adapting it to work with this clearly vintage car.
Okay, well, he's saying, like, maybe we should go back inside and, discuss other matters. But you're saying, no, let me show you.
I would like to. I wanted to roll engineering, but I could roll influence instead first, I guess. I was kind of thinking he would just, like, move quick and just be like,
Okay, yeah, no, I buy that.
He was being Patch would have been in this context presented as the engineer.
Now you're with a bunch of. Okay, so that's how he's represented himself. So you're like, let me get in there, and before any of the suits, just
kind of holds up a hand, like, hold on, and then just, like, kind of goes over to the car, opens it up, and starts messing around under the hood.
Okay, so before the suits can react, you're like popping it open, and you just start messing. And they're like,
I'm just
hang on a second,
shit
this
together.
is delicate stuff, and you clearly don't know what you're talking about. But you just already, you're already elbows deep. Okay,
already action, already like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's doing what he, he's a doer.
I buy it. I buy it. All right. Okay, so this is a desperate. This is desperate. This is desperate because this is maybe your Hail Mary.
It is absolutely a Hail Mary.
And pull this off. So to be clear, Badge and Buzz, you guys can jump into this scene or elsewhere at any moment. Just in case you were wondering about that.
So one item that Patch has access to that I think is really funny is spare parts, which is you always have exactly the mechanical odds and ends you need. So he just is pulling parts out of his coat to adapt.
Okay. That is a really weird. You're getting weird looks from these guys for that.
It doesn't matter. The results.
They were not expecting a grease monkey to be at this meeting. So you guys definitely, your normal look is different. So you definitely had to dress up for this.
Yeah, is it reasonable to say he's normal load, or
what load did you take?
I don't really know in this setting yet, what loads look like. So is a normal load?
I would assume that light means that you look like a normal person. Normal means that you look like you're, you look
like a shadow runner.
And heavy means that you are armed for bear.
Yeah, so I guess he had to go in light for this then.
Yeah, he had to go in light.
Would we be able to take in normal with some briefcases or something?
You probably wouldn't have been able to carry them out with you, back and forth. Would have looked weird.
Got it.
Well, spare parts is only one load, so.
Okay. So Mark.
He also could have access to mechanic tools. So
they're just wait, but you're already elbows deep in it. So this is a desperate situation. You have some spare parts, and what are you trying to do exactly?
I'm trying to dazzle them essentially with technology.
Okay.
These are business people, I believe, and I am not a business person. I am an engineer, right? And so the point is we're trying to sell them this advanced tech. I don't know how we got talking about this vintage car, but the fact that the tech applies to any car seems impressive somehow.
They've been talking. They've directed the conversation toward this upcoming convention that Barton Motors is going to be participating in. They'd very much like to show them up.
Well, check this out.
And they, they manufacture parts for vintage cars. So they are they're taking you out to look at the car in question.
So while I'm in there, do up to my elbows, I'll try to be saying things like, the really great thing is how universal this is and how it can apply to. You can simplify your tool chain. You'd only have to build one thing.
So
works on anything.
So I get that you're trying to dazzle them with the universality of it, but I feel like shouldn't you be trying to do something specific to the car? Or
I the player don't really understand what this MacGuffin is that we're presenting.
Sure, but are you trying to make the car run better in some way?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge at this moment. That is definitely pretty difficult. So this is a desperate roll, and I'm going to say the effect, at least the base level, is limited.
Okay.
And yeah. So you can push in this game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
push yourself, or you can accept a sellout.
Right.
I'm trying to look at
And
the
no one has signed up to be in the room with me, so to speak.
Although
So
they
there
could
I
at
am
any
assuming
moment.
no assists.
They could at any moment decide that they are there.
Hmm.
There's so many volunteers.
Or they could
That's
say,
fair.
meanwhile, I'm somewhere else doing something else. But
I've started a fire in the other room. It's great.
I'm trying to find the sellout rules.
Yeah, I would like to know more about those.
I wonder
At
if
this
it's
juncture.
exactly the same. Adding bonus dice. You can get assistance. You can either push yourself or sell out your belief.
It's detailed later in this chapter.
Surviving a
How useful.
mission. The first thing is flashback. Definitely use flashbacks. Selling out. Fortune favors the corrupt. When they leverage the advantages of oppression, they sell out their beliefs for short-term benefit. If a player compromises their values or furthers oppression in the world, they gain a sellout point. This point can be used to gain +1 die on any roll. You can bank up to 3 points for later use. Interesting. What's your personal code?
Fixing things. is
Fixing
the core
things?
of it. Like not throwing things away, repairing, and reusing.
Fighting against your
consumption.
Consumption. What's the team ideal? The base?
I don't remember.
Let me pull it up.
Crew sheet.
Our team ideal is protest.
Protest. Not speak truth to an abusive power?
That sounds familiar.
Let me take a look.
I have the clue sheet.
So under ideals, protest is an ideal, and then kind of the subtext for that is speak truth to power and fight against injustice whenever you witness it.
Right. That makes this very difficult to come up with something because it's very
This is weird. Like, because would we have to have had like a flashback to like a prior sellout so that I would have the banked point so that I could then use it now?
Well, also I feel like any player or the GM can propose a way to sell out. The PC compromises themselves regardless of the outcome of the roll. That's interesting.
So I think it's that you can bank it, but you can also just use it like a devil's bargain. It's just, rather than it simply being something that's interesting, it's specifically some way that your character is selling out.
Yeah.
Basically. So, like, for example, or I guess as an offer, you could change the conversation to be about how you would never want to go with any of the smaller companies because they would be sure to, or anyone who wasn't as big as Cutting M Cryptotechnics, because you just couldn't trust anybody non-gilded to manufacture these parts. They wouldn't be so universal. So you could adjust the conversation to that, and they might be more willing to listen, which would give you a bonus die.
Is that like do I have to be saying it and believing it for it to count, or can I just be lying about it and still have it?
Well, you can you're promoting the idea.
Okay.
That,
so merely promoting the idea, even as a lie. counts as selling out.
Yeah, because think about it this way: like, even if they find out that we're frauds and this isn't actually going anywhere, it's still planting the idea or that this could be a potential avenue if they were to contact the real people. So
yeah, that's true. So my character would know all about the way that like the Spark Guild would handle something like this, and can certainly spout off about why you want to go with a guild affiliated group.
Yeah.
And that's also
he knows
just if
all
you
of that
wanna sell out.
propaganda.
You could just push yourself.
Or you could
That's
just
true.
push yourself.
I feel like there might be value in bringing up the guild stuff at this juncture, because it might distract from how desperate things are as well.
That's a form of selling out.
Yeah. So I will definitely be spouting off about how great the guild is and how you should always go with a guild person while I'm hacking around inside this engine in a very non-guild way.
All right.
And I've lost the tab that has all the stuff in it.
So
Here we go. So it's one bonus die for that?
Yep, and it's desperate and limited unless you are changing that up.
I don't know that I can change that, really.
It's interesting you can bank the dice.
Yeah, that feels super weird. And, like, do I get any negative effect from this?
Yeah, when you sell out, there is a negative effect.
What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find out together.
I love all these informed choices I'm making.
Just like the real world.
Yeah, so let's just see how this goes. And limited effect or no, maybe this will just keep things from exploding immediately, or it'll explode immediately. One of the two. Haha!
Hey, it's a 6.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. So insofar as it can work, it does work. And they are kind of watching, and one of the other suits says, "Damn, that is really impressive." And they kind of start
At the
chatting.
very least, it seems like I know what I'm talking about again.
They kind of start chatting the link.
That's-
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're like, "Oh, this guy does know what he's talking about." And they start chatting amongst themselves. To kind of talking shop while this is going on. So they are definitely like, all right, okay, we can keep talking.
Excellent.
What's next, guys?
I feel like one of the other two characters should decide whether they are in this scene.
Well, I'm definitely in this scene, and I'm kind of being the person who's in a suit, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, not the one up to their elbows in an antique car?
Yeah, that's not really my area. So I'm gonna jump in and be like, I'm gonna sort of like turn to the other, maybe some of the more like corporate-looking people, and be like, well, now that we've gotten the live demonstration out of the way, maybe we should go inside and start talking terms.
All right, I don't know if we're at terms yet, but we can definitely continue the meeting, says Leslie. Right. Let's go inside. And they are going to lead you back into the building, ride the elevator back up to the boardroom that they have, past the mechanical kind of shop area, and more toward the more corporate feeling rooms of the building. They are in part of this vast like office building, and they seem to have some offices on a couple of different floors, including a garage section.
So while Patch was doing his thing before, he's going to have made sure to get as filthy as possible in that engine.
Okay.
With the hope that someone will either tell him to go clean up, or he can excuse himself when they get back to the boardroom.
Well, as you guys are shuffling back in, Leslie, the dwarf, looks over at you and says, "If you want to clean yourself, there's a station in the back." He seems interested in you returning, since you seemed to know what you were talking about.
Okay, but I might have a few moments.
Sure.
Okay.
There's people going around, the well-dressed, non-tattooed wage slaves who are feeding the beast as they hustle to try and resell these manufactured parts, or manufacture them and sell the pieces. So there's a hustle and bustle of activity, but yeah, there's a kind of a washroom where the mechanics and engineers can clean up.
I'm trying to decide how I would actually try to find information while I'm cleaning grease off of myself.
Okay.
So, I think this is actually a good point for me to do a flashback.
Sounds good.
Basically, I'm thinking, in order for us to have some more information about what we need to do next and how we need to get access to this data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that before we set this meeting up, I got a spirit of air to kind of flow through the building's air conditioning system and try to pick up and basically kind of using that same concept I was thinking of before. I'm gonna try to have it pick up the words of anybody who's talking about pay data, and then bring those words back to me.
Oh boy. So you're going to be looking for a few keywords about the reports that have been mentioned.
So like where it's or seeing if I can pick up anybody talking about where it's stored or when it's being transmitted, all of those kinds of details.
Oh boy. Okay. So this is going to be a roll, and this flashback would definitely be a 2 stress roll, but I think we're keying in the cool factor here. What do you guys think, Patch and Badge? How would you rate the cool factor here? Cool, bitchin', or fucking awesome?
It's at least cool.
I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd say cool.
All right, cool. So instead of 2 stress, it's only going to cost 1 stress for this flashback.
Awesome.
All right, so our camera jumps to having called up a minor spirit of the air, a little mephit, a little wing, or to pull a thing from D&D, a little almost winged, tiny fairy, much smaller than you as a fairy, but just kind of a swirling, vaguely humanoid figure with wings, constantly spinning. And that speaks and whispers, and our camera cuts and zooms in to Buzz whispering the instructions, and the thing flying into, getting sucked in, not affected by the blades of the massive air conditioning units outside the building, and getting pulled into the system. Well, I guess those blow wind out, but the spirit of the air doesn't care. It rides the current backwards. and gets into the system that way. And you and as you wait, it hears people talking as it passes by, and the and I'm going to ask you to make a roll.
All right. So, kind of, there's two ways that I could see this going. This could be the ego roll of me successfully summoning the spirit, and then it just kind of doing its thing, or
Probably
it could
not.
be
Given
just,
time, and preparation and planning, I don't think, unless it's a big spirit, a big spirit is a different story. But
Right.
I'm imagining this is a tier 0 air spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
So given time, I don't think that it's going to cost you too much of your soul to, or any really, to call up such a minor spirit. So, given time, I think it's not a problem. I'm much more interested in how effectively you're going to be able to instruct it or direct it.
Okay. So in that case, I'm thinking it's either an intuit roll of like me making guesses about where I think it should go, or it's a seek roll of, me having observed the building myself and, knowing or like trying to direct it to specific floors and such.
Just from that description, seek is going to be a lot more effective because just trying to feel the layout of a building and who's going to be talking is not going to be as good as using seek to kind of hunt down the information you're looking for.
Okay, I'll use seek then.
Very cool. So this is a flashback to how long ago?
I would say that this was maybe 3 days ago.
Okay. So that'll give you better effect, but it's gonna worsen your position because it's going to have a higher chance of causing,
Sure.
problems with
Yep.
your current mission. So the position will be risky. The effect will be standard.
Okay. And I'll go ahead and push myself on this as well for 1 extra die. And that's a 6.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. Another 6. You guys have gotten a lot of 6s. I feel like Badge keeps getting the 4s and 5s.
I got a 2 on the engagement roll, so
Oh yeah, that's true. Or was it 3 maybe? Okay. So with a 6,
I got 2 rolls of a 4 and a 5 in a row, so
Yeah.
with a 6, I'm going to say that I'm going to establish in our world that it is possible, though difficult, to maintain this mental connection and just get the messages psychically passed back to you. Can kind of hear
Okay.
vibrating through. This is an air spirit, after all. Vibrating through, you can kind of hear. Maybe it's psychic, maybe it's magic through sound waves. That this whisper drifts back to your ears, and you hear. You almost feel like you can see, but although you can't see, you can hear. But you almost feel like you're hearing the spirit spinning as it goes, flying through the air ducts, throughout these offices, and picking up like the random chatter of these executives and from the sales floor, and the manufacturing wing, and all of these things
coming back to you in this whispered echo. We want to be the thought leaders of the Komodo. Can our competency is coming down behind.
Sorry, Max, you're cutting in and out.
We need to be the thought leaders. I mean, we've opened the kimono and the core competency is building up.
I'm sorry, it's still happening. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We are the thought leaders in this field. We've opened the kimono and we are building on our core competency.
Every time you tilt your head that way, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Well, it was a cool idea.
It was. I wanted it to work very badly. I was trying to hear you, but...
Maybe I just need to whisper louder, but I'm not going to try a fourth time.
Now you know how Dredge felt whenever he talked to anything interesting.
You get a bunch of techno babble, business babble, whispered back to you. It was very funny. You'll just have to imagine it.
Okay.
And it takes a while, but as it flies through, eventually it starts picking up some words about. We need to file these learnings in a report. Show that we're the best in breed and can change with the shifting paradigms. Send a report upstairs. The one-eyed guy's gonna want to hear about this.
Sorry, the one-eyed god is going to what?
Send his ravens.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll...
the email template in here now. Let me just pull it up on the monitor. Sending now. I hope this moves the needle. Make sure to delete your password notice. Since you're going to be out of pocket for a while.
Okay. Patch, does that help you with where you want to go next?
Not really, because he was still breaking up every other word.
So what I gathered from it was that they're sending the info upstairs.
Yep.
They're using an email template for it, and somebody needs to delete their password because they're going to be out of pocket for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure what out of pocket means in that context.
It's business babble for meaning they're out of the office and unreachable.
Oh, okay.
You haven't had many normal corporate jobs, have you, Matt?
No. Yeah, so...
So basically, you
I'm
guys...
on my way to... Go ahead.
Okay, so you know where there is in this building
a computer with an unprotected password, and somebody had these emails on that computer at that time.
So, but I know where it is.
Yep, because the spirit of error knows where it is.
Mhm.
Okay, so where is it in relation to this washroom or wherever I'm on my way to right now?
You could do a flashback to plan a route.
Well, I mean, am I even on the right floor? Like, I
At
don't
the
know
moment, no.
how this building is laid out. Yeah.
No, it is upstairs from you. You are at the washroom next to the garage. Downstairs.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I didn't think it would be down here.
So, if you want access, you can take the elevator that everybody else took, or you can flashback to, or you can try to figure out some other route in the moment.
I'm trying to decide whether I try to leave behind a micro drone, or if I try to just look lost and wander the building.
Okay, while you're deciding that, Badge and Buzz... No, not Buzz. Just Badge is going up the elevator with these guys, and they're talking all kinds of car stuff, which I don't know how much Badge understands. But they are trying to... they're trying to ask more about Cunningham Cryptotechnic's interest in this convention, since they didn't think that they were interested in anything but self-driving cars.
Right, of course. Well, self-driving cars are definitely our main interest, but we're trying to look into sort of expanding the definition of self-driving cars. We don't want to just produce the self-driving car that the market expects. We want to start looking into producing a self-driving car that's going to revolutionize the market and completely shift the paradigm that people are operating within. And part of that, honestly, is simply getting to know cars. We have the computer and the AI side of it down, but the side of it that is, let's call it the cool factor, isn't exactly what we have a good handle on. So we're hoping that by attending this convention, hopefully those of us who aren't as much from the grease monkey background as my friend will be able to learn a little bit from those of you who've been in the industry longer.
Lindsay Carver looks up at you in the elevator and kind of hangs back with you as everyone's kind of filing back into the boardroom. And he says, "So you're interested in taking a vintage chassis and filling it with your parts and making it self-driving?"
Not necessarily, but we are definitely looking to cash in on the retro trend. We're not sure that working with a vintage chassis will be good, partly just because it'll be difficult to drive the numbers up. Vintage cars are in limited supply, and for the most part are going to be going to collectors who are going to be reluctant to do anything like that to them. But what we're looking for is more of a feel. We're looking to perhaps appeal to people who like the aesthetic of a vintage car, but don't necessarily have the know-how or the time to sink into it to make sure that it's running correctly. And moreover, who want perhaps a little bit more modern functionality with classic style.
He doesn't seem to love that, and kind of wants to talk more to your engineer friend, and checks his watch when as the meeting continues in that vein, as you just showed us. Very well done, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. You used a lot of words to say no, but also yes.
I mean, that's the dream.
So you're definitely keeping them busy. But you're only going to be able to keep that up for so long before you're going to have to make a roll.
Yeah.
Because it will turn to things that you don't have a knowledge of.
All right. Well, I guess, I mean, I'll keep it up, and I'll kind of, I guess I'll kind of try to turn the conversation over to, like, get them talking about, like, but enough about the kind of cars that I'm going to be making. What I want to know is, what kind of car do you envision your part being inside of?
Okay. So you're going to try to get them talking just to kind of let you delay the conversation longer? Or for
Yes.
what other purpose? Okay. All right, in that case, go ahead and make an action roll. This will be controlled. But I don't know what skill to ask you to use. What action?
Would that be either influence or mingle, probably?
Probably mingle would be slightly better. Although influence is also an option.
I'm equally bad at both of these, so I'll go with mingle.
Badge tries to mingle with the corporate, not exactly the elite, but definitely
Standard
the elite
effect.
in this organization. The effect for mingle will actually be great.
Awesome.
Because that's exactly what you... also with your amazing dialogue, I think is deserving of that. The position, however, is risky. Not controlled.
That's a 5.
That's a 3.
Oh, that's a 3. Fuck.
0 dice. You start to get the strong sense that they are catching on and kind of getting impatient. You start to feel the sweat pricking over your scalp.
Right. Well, seems like my partner must have gotten lost on the way back from the bathroom. Maybe I could...
Scattered laughter. But it's a little uncomfortable.
Right. So I say, well, maybe we could, well, let's give him 10 more minutes before we send out a search party.
Some pressed lips at that. We're pretty busy, ma'am, says Lindsay Carver. Maybe...
Well, then, by all means.
Cunningham Cryptotechnics isn't all that interested, after all.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that we haven't given you that impression. You were the first meeting that we took. And the first people who we reached out to. I don't think that we've made a secret of it that we've been shopping around, but you're at the top of our list, and we definitely want to hear whatever you have to say.
Okay. Guys, if you're waiting for me to say meanwhile, I'm not going to. You have to interrupt us. Unless
Buzz,
interrupted, I'm just going to
does
keep
Buzz
rolling.
do anything, or are you...
So I'm thinking Buzz's best way of interacting here is basically being the emergency exit, causing, or like he'll be very good at causing a distraction if we need that. So that's kind of why I'm holding him on standby.
Okay. In that case, Patch will have cleaned himself up and gone to the wrong floor and tried to find that computer.
The wrong floor, meaning the target floor.
Yeah, meaning the floor that has the computer, not the floor that has the board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Assuming those are different floors.
Okay.
Yeah. What I will establish really quick is that Buzz is listening to the conversation that's happening with Badge, using his encrypted communicator.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So he has a
Badge
headset
is wearing
or
something so he can hear. So if there's a signal or something that we need to get out of here, or Buzz can start moving.
Well, they have limited security. There are some security guards and some other things. Apparently, no magical wards on the air vent system. But they do have some security for cyber messages in and out of the building. It's not they're not completely naked to that.
Okay.
What form does that take? Is that a active system, or is that like just like lead-lined walls or something?
Well, you don't entirely necessarily know.
Fair enough.
But the usual danger is that they will track incoming and outgoing signals and be able to tap into them. So if your signal's encrypted, that may help, but they may know that it's there.
Right. Okay.
But there are, of course, all kinds of crazy security measures that could be in place.
Right.
Including a Faraday cage on the boardroom.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So then I think what I'm going to do is instead of the encrypted communicator, I'm just going to go for a more magical solution to this.
Okay.
Of
a magical communicator.
Yeah, so essentially what I'm well, yes. So having established that we can have that mental link between spirits, I'm going to summon up a spirit of earth into basically a rock that Badge can have in her pocket, and so that's not going to trigger anything because it's
passive until activated.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, so that is going to require a flashback because you have to acquire an asset for that. So that is how powerful of a spirit are you looking at? Just something
tier 0, very basic. Yeah.
Very basic. Now, I did say that it was whispers with the air spirit. Like magical air, vibrations.
Yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of like when Badge thinks things are in trouble, then she squeezes the rock or does something to she deliberately activates it rather than it being like a constant stream. I wouldn't have a full connection to everything that's happening, kind of thing.
It would be difficult to maintain your control over a spirit
through so much distance and interference. I'm going to say that it would have to be activated, like she would have to connect it to like an earth symbol, like a potted plant with some dirt in it, or like a grounded like metal support beam or something. Something with an earth connection to actually send a signal to you.
Okay.
I guess air spirits have the advantage of they're connected to you through air, so it's,
right.
If they have range, they at least have that going for them. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense to me.
Okay, cool. All right, so that is going to cost stress to set that up. So we'll say that's. I think summoning a spirit is even a weak spirit that can be a pretty stressful endeavor. When it's done in a flashback. But I did put some limitations on it, so I'm going to say it's 1 stress.
Okay.
All right. So that's all set up. So you are on standby. Badge has a help me signal thing. If she can connect it to an earth anima object. Patch, were you interrupting to do something, or should I continue the scene with Badge?
So I was just saying that Patch was, instead of going to the board meeting, he's going to go try to make for that computer. So
okay,
I don't know how that goes.
Well, what method? How is he getting there? Is he just going up the regular elevator?
Yeah, people on this floor were expecting him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
we'll see what
the security at the front desk isn't going to bother you. They certainly have their eye, but you've cleaned up, and you get in the elevator, and it's the 3rd floor instead of the 4th floor.
Right.
So you're riding the elevator up, and that lets out to a series. There's an open air office with like a call center, people making calls, and then there's like a bunch of shared private offices.
Did I have time to befriend the elevator?
You can try.
I don't know how long that takes.
You can certainly try. You can.
Well,
you can talk to the elevator, and it will say, "What floor, please?"
If I decide to come back, maybe we'll flash back to when I made friends with the elevator, if it becomes relevant. For now, you were saying there's like a call center, and what else?
And then there's like a corridor with a series of shared private offices.
And where did we expect to find this unlocked computer?
2A. But you can't see the doors from here. You have to cross the call center, open office.
I'm just going to stride confidently. As a former guild member, I think I can look like I know where I should be.
Okay. People
and just
kind
stride
of,
through the floor.
Look up as you pass, and then go back to what they were doing.
There's like an adage about if you have like a clipboard and look like you know where you're doing, no one will ask you questions.
Well, there is someone with a AR, a glowing clipboard, and they are kind of look like the person in charge of all these people. Are you going to approach them or avoid them?
Avoid them.
Okay, well, but
not look like I'm avoiding them.
They look busy. They look busy. There's a lot of things going on. You see some people kind of running around talking. Seems like they're preparing for something, but you're not going to stay.
Actually, no, I will approach them.
Oh. Okay.
And I'm going to tell them that I've been sent by the Spark Guild to repair the electrical terminal in 2A, and I'm going to use influence to get them to tell me where 2A is and leave me alone to do my work.
They're going to look up and look down and be like, they have a headset, they talk into it. This is a Sealy Court she. Or she. She is a red-haired, green-eyed, elfin sort of person. And with pointy ears. And she looks at the thing, she scrolls through the AR clipboard and looks up and says, "You're not on the schedule."
Do you represent the Spark Guild? I represent the Spark Guild. Where is 2A? Like, I'll actually make a roll for this. Like, influence is a thing he's good at.
I think it is. All right. Well, all right. You're making an influence roll. Go for it.
Yep.
This will be risky, and the effect will be standard.
I'm gonna push myself, I think. And how many stress boxes should the character sheet have?
You can adjust
it doesn't know. Okay. Someone tell me later how to adjust it, because I only have 5 stress.
It's just
boxes.
in your settings in the top right, the little.
Okay, the little wheel. Okay, I'll deal with that later.
If your relevance is 0, it'll be 9.
Yeah, so my relevance is 0, but I got a 6 on that influence check.
Wow. Her eyes go wide, and she kind of rubs her one pointy ear. She doesn't smash into her horns because she doesn't have any horns. And she rubs her one pointy ear. She's like, "All right, sorry, mister. I'll add you to the schedule now." She says,
I don't need that. I need you to tell me where 2A is.
Right. So she walks you over, and she kind of knocks, and there's a voice from inside, and she kind of pushes a button that's actually invisible to you.
Cool.
But there seems to be some kind of intercom, and she says, "So sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Miller, but we seem to have a Spark Guild representative here. Apparently there's something, repairs needed on the electronics in your office." Yes, again, I'm so sorry. It wasn't on the schedule. Must have been an oversight. I take full responsibility. Yes, I will be working overtime. She looks at you and kind of looks away. Yes, of course. Again, I don't know why it didn't end up on the schedule, Mrs. Miller. I fully apologize. All right.
Patch is trying to look distant and uninterested in this, but he really, really is hating having to do this. Like, this feels like a sellout kind of thing to him.
Yeah. There's a clicking sound, and she turns the handle, opens the door, and you see someone who looks like an irate software engineer. She's kind of... she seems to be some kind of nature spirit kind of person. Possibly a dryad. She's very tall, very slim, and she has green hair, and kind of brownish complexion. And she kind of rises and towers over you. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how tall you are, but she is. She's very tall.
Normal.
She's very tall for a woman. She's 6'7". very thin. And she says, I trust this won't be taking overly long?
No, I'll be very quick.
I was in the middle of something. Do you need me to leave?
Yes, for your own safety.
She says, as she passes, the other woman looming over her, kind of brushing past her at the door, she says, I expect a full explanation of how this happened, Caroline. Come along. The she person, apparently Caroline, kind of runs her fingers through her red hair, sighs, closes the door quietly behind you. And you see through the window, they kind of walk off through the hallway. It actually kind of has a fancy set of windows where you can, in the classic futuristic fashion, like wave your hand at an AR button, and it just dims the windows.
Well, I'll dim the windows real quick and then
Okay.
get what I can off of her computer.
Okay. Oh, so you're going to go to her computer. Not so there's so hang on a second. So you
Okay.
look around. So there's 2 desks in here.
Oh, okay.
They're shared offices.
Got it. Well, yeah, the computer that I'm after is, I assumed if there was an office, it was only one. But yeah, no, the one I'm after, for sure. I'm not going to mess around with this lady's computer. I've already ruined her day.
Okay. So you turn on that computer, and sure enough, you see flashing in the corner a change your password reminder. It's kind of a 3D projection glowing off of the screen. It says change your password, Catherine Harmon. What would you like to do to kind of extract this from the computer?
I don't know what I want to get the email template and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get it in such a way that it is like verifiable. I don't know what forms of like data transfer and things we have in the setting. I could literally like forward the email to our friend's email address that he gave us, right?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, we have everything that we have in the modern day, and then extra.
Yeah. I don't want to implicate our friend or have any record of it being sent here, so I will just,
The office chair is enchanted, and it releases a kind of a spring scent as you sit in it.
I guess that's not the worst thing that could have happened from an enchanted office chair. It eats you.
It's not a security measure.
Yeah, so I will just, download, I'll just download the email template onto, I don't know, the equivalent of a fancy flash drive thing, which I probably have hundreds of.
Okay.
Sure. Amongst the many gadgetry and parts and things he would have is probably countless, flash drives and the like. So, get that.
Okay.
He will also change her password when he's done.
Okay. For whose computer? The
one that's blinking and saying you should change your password.
Oh, okay. Got it. This is apparently the person who was on vacation or something.
You cut out. Person who what?
Apparently the person who was on vacation or out of pocket.
Right.
For a while.
is the computer you're accessing, not the open engineer's computer, which is the lady who just left.
Right. The one I'm using the computer that I was trying to get to, and not the one of the person I inconvenienced unintentionally.
Okay, got it. So, I mean, a blank template won't necessarily help you all that much.
Well, she must have sent filled out versions, right?
She must have.
So I'll just download all her email.
Okay. Well, they seem to have been, at least on the other end, they understand security a bit better. And when you do a search in her inbox, those emails don't show up.
Ugh.
Well, you should probably search in her outbox then.
Well, yeah, that's why I said get her sent email.
You search in her sent emails. You search in the outgoing information.
Did I cut out when I said that before? I definitely.
No, it's just he said you searched
I said inbox
for all her sent emails and you can't find it. It's like
go to the sent email folder and then I search in there. But no, they don't save any of that shit because they're not morons.
At least on the other end.
Okay. So, when we learned all this information from the air spirit, did we come up with an actual plan? Or is Patch just making this up as he goes?
You can flash back to making an actual plan, or you can make something up on the spot.
Well, because Matt, the player, is unsure where to go from here.
How about flashback to a scene around the table back at the base, where you guys are talking about, okay, we know about this computer, we know it had information, we know it has password vulnerability. What else do we need to figure out?
Like, a blank template doesn't prove anything, right? We need more than that. What if they don't save the sent emails? What then?
Well, would it be possible to maybe take the template and send an email using it, asking for an immediate response?
Would that be good enough?
That might take time, though. The other thing that you might want to try is simply looking for the pay data directly, and seeing if you can get access to it through that terminal.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So, back in the present.
All right.
Search the rest of what. I mean, it's the future, right? So I download the entire hard drive to a flash drive in like 3 seconds, right?
You probably have to have a specialized item in your, in your items in order to do that.
I choose instead to make friends with this computer.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, what action are you using to do that?
So it's a special ability called Chatterbox that I can analyze machines, and they basically talk to me. And then once I do that, I can then influence them.
So you're literally going to treat her personal computer as a person.
Well, it's her work computer, right?
Her work computer. Okay. And it treats you as a friend?
Well, so, I don't know. It says machines can talk to you when you analyze them and can be influenced.
Oh.
So, like, I'm attempting
to make friends.
Yeah.
Okay. The personality of her computer. Well, it doesn't have a spirit in it. It's not a cat bus.
Right.
Right.
I picture this as like, it's kind of like hacking, but it's a much more like conversational form of hacking, I guess.
I guess so.
Like I don't like analyze like okay, you're like looking at things, you're clicking on shit. The influence part of it is where it gets a little weird.
All right, flirt with her computer.
Basically, yeah.
Using influence.
Well, do I have to roll analyze first? How to like?
This is amazing.
That
that is up to you. You could skip right to influence. Analyze might bring up some useful info.
Let me
that you
do.
otherwise miss.
I feel like I kind of put the fear of God into those people a little bit, and so I might have a few minutes here. So let me do an actual analyze and see.
Okay. I should put up a clock actually.
Probably.
So I made all of the futuristic clocks, but I never loaded them into Roll20, and if you guys don't want to wait 5 minutes for me to do that, we'll just use the old clocks. Futuristic clocks are coming,
fine.
folks.
Okay.
What's the position here? It's kind of controlled at the moment.
No. If something goes wrong, you could trigger some serious security.
I'll make friends with that security.
Well, good luck. They could send non-machine security.
I can talk to people as well.
That's true. That's true. You're quite the charmer. So badge.
Yeah.
I'm making one clock for the suits catch on.
Great.
And it is 3 out of 4 ticks.
Yeah, you might want to switch to Hail Mary mode over there because I don't see Patch coming back in a timely manner.
And I'm making one for Patch, which is alarm is raised. And it actually it has no tick marks on it yet. Well, it took you a little bit of time to.
Yeah, I was sticking around with the email, and I did, like I said, I changed your password and everything.
Yeah, so that's one tick mark. Because either they could come back, or you could set off some crypto security or something. So that is what that is. All right. So, yeah. Well, you have about enough time to do another thing, Patch, before we're gonna have to jump back to Patch.
I changed my mind. I'm gonna go straight to the influence check if you're not requiring the analyze check for.
Straight to the influence check. No, I'm not requiring the analyze check, but it could reveal previously unknown information.
Oh well. Feeling the time pressure.
Okay. Yeah, that's the effect of clocks, right?
What is my position? Risky.
Risky. You're at risky standard.
I'm just trying to decide if I push myself or any of the other things.
And you're just like
I feel
trying to influence this computer to be your friend.
Does the prior act of like referring to guild membership and pushing my way past that lady count as selling out already?
We'll deal with that at the end of the session. Oh, you mean?
What I mean is, do I have a die from it?
Not really. They think you're doing something with the electronics, not the software.
I wasn't sure that had to be that specific, but okay, whatever.
It's not like they helped you in any way, so I don't know why you would.
No, I know, but I got the vague sense that just like selling out in general gives you free dice.
Oh, right, it gives you free dice, doesn't it?
That's what it feels like from that section of the rules.
And you let that lady take a fall, which is counter to your.
Yeah, no, I feel bad about like that sequence.
You're right. In this game, as opposed to Blades in the Dark, that actually counts.
So like, I have a floating die from that I could use here, right?
The universe will remember that.
Yeah, I know. There's a little pop-up somewhere that says everyone disliked that.
Karma, exactly. Karma in the dark.
Okay, so 1 bonus die from having screwed up the universe a little bit.
Yep.
Oh boy, that was bad. And that so ends the streak of 6s. That extra die really didn't help me.
Alright, guys. Well, this has been fun.
This computer hates me. It's because I changed the password already. I think that set it off.
I am ticking the clock. And the computer says...
You are not Catherine. You do not have access.
I mean, talk to computers, you get talked to back, I guess. That makes sense. So do I start a fire and run away? Let's maybe switch back to somebody else.
Unauthorized user.
I don't know, does somebody want to swoop in?
Well, I certainly can't help, but...
No, I know, but like we could switch to your
okay.
scene. is
Well,
all I think
Badge,
about what the
they
hell I'm gonna do.
are running out of patience. It's finally gotten to the point where Leslie stands up and says, "Well, I'm not sure we have anything further to talk about here."
Well, I'm terribly sorry to hear that, but I will certainly take that information back to our corporate office and let them know that this doesn't seem like a project that you are going to be interested in.
Well, if they want to send somebody that is ready to make an offer or talk about something significant, then we'll be listening. But until then, this seems like a waste of time. Please collect your engineer friend, and we have to get back to our regular business.
All right, I will get my briefcase and I will activate my little magical get us the fuck out of here.
How will you activate it? Because it needs some connection to Buzz. As you remember I described.
Are there any potted plants in the lobby?
There might be, but you would have to kind of sidle up to one and not look weird as you placed the elemental in the pot.
Right. So I'm gonna do that. Well, first I'm going to stop in the ladies' room and see if there's a potted plant in the ladies' room.
There is, but there are also ladies in the ladies' room.
Well, I will go into a stall and see if I can wait for 5 or 10 minutes until there are no more ladies in the room.
Okay, you start waiting. The line gets longer.
All right. Where is the potted plant? Is it like near a mirror or something?
It's by the entrance to the washroom.
Okay. All right. I'm going to head out, and as I am heading out, I'm going to pull out my cell phone and act like I'm checking it. And then I'm going to trip and drop my cell phone.
Okay. Sounds like performance.
I guess probably.
All right, so you're just trying to convince random people walking through the lobby.
You just cut out.
You're just trying. Why am I cutting out so much? All right, you may pick up more background noise. Upping the gain. You're just trying to convince random people in the lobby and any security cameras.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically just trying to, like, trip so that I have an excuse to, like, bend over and maybe, like, lean on the pot to, like, steady myself as I bend down in heels.
Okay. I mean, that's probably a performance action, unless you're trying to use some other action. So this is going to be risky, and the effect will be limited.
Alright. That's another 3. God damn it, I got a 6.
Maybe start pushing yourself for those 0 die rolls.
Yeah, maybe I better start doing
Or selling out.
I had 3 dice and still got a 3 last time,
True.
so...
True.
Or sell out.
Yeah. Oh well. It's too late now.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have a separate alarm clock for you.
You get kicked out of the bathroom.
Are you in the bathroom or did you leave the restroom? I think.
Well,
You're in the lobby
I'm
now.
next to the potted plant. So I'm still in the bathroom, but you said it's by the entrance, so I don't I trip and drop my cell phone like behind the potted plant.
Okay. In the restroom?
If that's yes, wherever the potted plant is.
There are potted plant. There are lots of potted plants. There are potted plants in the lobby and potted plants in the restroom. You said you left the washroom, so I was trying to understand what you were saying.
The potted plant that is by the entrance to the restroom. I try to trip and drop my cell phone behind it,
Okay.
so that I have an excuse to lean over it and drop a thing in.
Okay, so that's kind of a thoroughfare. There's people coming in and out. So, and a bit of a line has formed. So it's actually kind of crowded there.
But I'm kind of hoping that people are going to generally avoid making eye contact in the bathroom.
So people are maybe avoiding eye contact, but you got the impression that it was kind of very obvious that you were dropping something in the plant, and as you glance over, there are a couple of ladies of various heritages, looking straight at you with kind of an alarmed expression. Not for your safety, but for what the hell did she just do kind of way.
Oh, that's no good. Alright, luckily I just raised the alarm, so hopefully...
So, Buzz, your Earth Elemental connects with you through that connection.
Okay.
And it's not the real Earth, and it is, it's fairly fairly limited kind of connection, but it's definitely there, and you are ping.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I'm gonna say that I'm stationed next to some power cabling that's close to the building. And I want to use that to summon a spirit of electricity.
Okay. How powerful of a spirit of electricity?
As powerful as I can get.
Okay. So you're connecting. You're outside by a power line. Like an above ground power line.
In some cities power lines are actually done up at the top of buildings rather than at the base.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something like that, then that's what I would use. Otherwise, I'm like down at the ground level, like where the main power line goes into the ground.
I think in this area, above ground power lines would be considered overly, ugly, unsightly. So I think the really strong power would be definitely buried.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna reach out to it from or from the ground then.
I mean, you could go up to the building or like a power box.
Yeah.
Or a lamppost or something. Now, that wouldn't give you as strong of a spirit, but you would have a hard time just, like, reaching out to something that you're separated by, you know,
I'm looking
feet
for something significant enough that, like, basically what I'm wanting it to do is I'm wanting it to just cause some chaos in the in their portion of the building. Something that's big enough that it's going to raise some alarms and get people riled up. So,
man, I don't think I have a lightning FX.
Yeah, I'm kind of playing on the idea that lightning elementals would probably be pretty chaotic in nature, and so I want it to be itself, just in that building.
Oh, you want to summon it not where you are, but in the building?
Well, I want to direct it to the building, and have it start like causing shorts and setting off fire alarms and freaking people out.
Well, that will be a challenge. That'll be a bit of a challenge. Well, depending on how strong. You said as strong as you can get. So, probably the strongest you could possibly get is if you went to like a power, box outside.
Yeah.
And just like put your hand on it, and just called upon it there.
Okay.
And you fly over there.
Yeah, I'm looking for something that
wings.
I would still be able to get the electric or the lightning spirit into the building, like. So I'm not looking to like go to the nearest power station and grab one from there. Just some kind of.
Well, there's like a box outside the building.
Junction box. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Okay.
That's definitely possible. It will be summoned like out of the box though. Just so you're not surprised.
Yeah, that's okay.
Barring some other extraordinary thing that you do, that's what's going to happen. Okay. Well, this strikes me as a bit desperate.
I think it kind of is. This was meant to be the emergency signal, so.
Yeah. Okay, so she sends you an emergency signal. This is all going on while Patch is like cursing himself for getting such a terrible response from the computer. That's going to be interesting.
So, not to interrupt, but it is after midnight.
I know. I know. I was just about to say,
this is a reasonable.
The
Great Escape can be next session, perhaps.
I wanted to get a bit further, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
There was some craziness. Okay.
That surprised me a lot.
All right. Matt, you're not feeling well, so we are going to...
No unexpected atmospheric effects, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was apropos for the moment.
No, I thought that literally was happening around me.
Well, he summoned a lightning elemental.
Yeah, no,
we're just going to see how that goes. We're going to see how that goes.
Like, what is happening?
Good. Okay, so we're gonna call it Matt is not feeling well, and that will be a
That's
very
right.
dramatic role to start next session off on. Thank you guys.
Do we want to do XP really quick?
We
Yeah, sure.
Or we can do that
should.
after.
Let's do XP. Let's do it now.
Okay.
So take it away, Corey.
All right. So address the challenge with supernatural allies or perception. I feel like I did both of those things this session. With looking around, trying to see if there was anybody listening in, and then I've summoned a bunch of spirits to try to help us out in various situations so far.
Yeah, you actually did that twice.
Mm-hmm.
You did both of those. So yeah, take two. Buzz played into that.
Yeah, attempted to seek out wisdom. I don't think I really did that this session.
I agree.
Yeah, and then you expressed your code, rebellion, or heritage. I definitely think I played into the heritage a little bit with the meeting with the troll.
That's true. You made that a thing. Take one for that. That was
right.
That was a nice little moment.
And then you struggled with your jaded instincts or attitude during this session, which definitely didn't happen.
All right. Badge.
Yeah, so my first one is addressed a challenge with evasion or guts, and I feel like I was pretty evasive in this session.
You certainly kissed the Blarney Stone in that meeting.
Yeah.
You did not let them pin you down on anything. So take one for that. Badge impersonated a regular person.
Yes. And attempted to run from my past. I don't think so.
No.
And then expressed your code, rebellion, or heritage. No, my rebellion is injustice. So I didn't really directly encounter any, so I didn't really have a huge opportunity.
Okay.
So that's, and I'm not jaded yet, so that's not a thing.
All right. And Patch.
Address the challenge with collaboration or invention. I think the invention thing applies for him trying to like adapt a spark plug thing in the car. I don't know if he really collaborated at all this session beyond the general like we're a team.
Well, there was the flashback to the meeting, but it wasn't for ideas. That was pretty cool.
It was more for player.
I didn't charge you. Yeah, I didn't. Well, no, but that was legit. That was more than legit. I think that we should do more of those. I didn't charge you a stress for it. You did do invention though.
Yeah, I did at least one invention. So
Yeah,
that
take one for that.
Attempted to befriend a machine.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I did that.
That was toward the end, and it failed in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, keyword there being attempted.
Yes. That's why I brought up the elevators, because I feel like this is a core thing of his character. Expressed your code, rebellion, or heritage. I feel like I kind of went against my code in rebellion more than I would have liked. I did try to express his rebellion when talking to the troll, because like the whole thing about them using up their people kind of pissed him off. But that didn't end up playing out in the actual score, so it's kind of a moot point. When it says heritage, it also means like literally the heritage thing specifically, not any of the other relevance markers.
It's both. Like,
well, because he was playing up the former guild thing a lot, but that's not his heritage.
I think that counts.
It's copying the word.
Yeah.
It's using the word for too many things. It's copying the word from Blades in the Dark, but in this game, it also has a specific meaning, and not just like where you came from. But it
Okay,
means
so
that
all
too.
of that background goof
Yes.
applies.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that one came up then. He used the guild stuff a lot.
That's true. That was a big deal. Go ahead and take one for that.
And then Jaded Instincts and Attitude haven't come up yet because we don't have them.
Yeah,
So.
and we'll look up the rules for selling out, because I think that may have. Well, I know Jaded Instinct happens when you fill your stress bar.
Right, maybe the Attitude thing.
But the
is other
attitude
one.
thing might.
This
I'm not
says
sure.
gain after your first Jaded Instinct from overstress, so that's probably
okay.
not it.
It's like a trauma.
Maybe we
or
just take
something.
a stress penalty or something. I don't know.
We'll check into the rules. This is a new rule set for us, and that's gonna happen. That's okay. We'll figure it out before next session. But thank you guys.
Yeah.
That was really
one last
fun.
thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't forget the crew or the cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
XP.
The crew.
Yeah. So complete an investigation, exploration, parabiological, or experimental mission. We haven't completed it yet. Aid your neighborhood. Haven't really gotten to that yet. Pursue an agent's
will.
side job. Which potentially further your team's ambition. No, we haven't done that yet because our ambition is say I'm a dreamer. Bolster your team's reputation or gain a new one.
What's your reputation?
Honest.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might have forgotten about that detail.
Yep.
We came
Next
up with
score
a
will be a
plan.
lot more on mission, a lot more on brand.
That's
We're
up to
we're still
you.
remembering how not to be
Or
in
maybe
points.
we just changed what our brand is.
You're gonna gain a new reputation. Dishonest.
New reputation, inconsistent.
Oh man.
I feel like we just straight up messed that up when we were coming up with this plan.
Yeah, I completely forgot that our reputation was going to be for honesty. So
Oh man.
Well, we're honest. We're honest with the people that hire us, not anyone else.
Oh well.
but yeah,
Anyway.
I'm not sure we get anything for the crew yet.
No.
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out about the house rule I was proposing, where you get an automatic neighborhood upgrade, because I don't think that you should get an automatic XP every session, or every time you complete a score. So we'll have to figure out exactly how that's going to work. But I don't know if that even made sense to you guys. But don't worry about it, because that was really fun. Thank you all very much for playing. Matt, Kate, and Corey, you guys are amazing. I feel like that was a pretty successful session one, you guys.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
a lot of fun for sure.
We still
I'm
have,
excited.
yeah. I mean, we still have a few things that we're learning about the new system, but that's to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't really take away from my enjoyment of seeing you guys kind of bluster and cheat your way through these obstacles, which was very entertaining. And I think we're gonna wrap up this score one way or the other pretty quick next time. We
Yep.
may be one roll away from wrapping up the score.
Yep.
So we'll have to see. But well done, well role played. Thank you to the viewers. Man with no screen name came in. Grimslag suggested a Dora backpack, which I forgot to pass along to you guys. Kenny was here for a bit, made a lot of awesome suggestions. Dark Society Network said hi. And anyone else who watches this later, thank you. You are awesome. We will be back with this game in 1 week for session 2, probably wrapping up this operation and moving on to the second half of it. And I wouldn't be super surprised if we wrapped up that one too next week. So that next week, I think, might even be more exciting than this one was, although this was really fun. I will be streaming my other campaign, the Wildlands, the D&D campaign, tomorrow evening at 8:45 or 8:30 Eastern Time. And that's about it, I think. So, have a good one. Thank you again to my wonderful players, and good night.
Thank you for GMing. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye.